I've got these two vases from the Dollar Tree. They are the same shape but different sizes. The larger one was $3 and the smaller one was $1.25. I have this metal trim from the Hobby Lobby, and a while back I remember they sold some metal trim at Dollar Tree as well, but I haven't seen that in ages, but some of y'all might have some of that. This stuff cuts pretty easily with some heavy-duty scissors, and so I just cut that down to size, making sure it overlapped so I could glue it to itself. And I wanted to give you guys another option on how to do a similar one. So I'm making a set of two here, and that they will be the same color and look very similar, but I will do it two different ways. I have this trim from Hobby Lobby, but they also sell this trim that has the same sort of style at Walmart. And I'm going to give both of these a base coat of truffle chalk paint. The paint will stiffen up that lace trim, but you could of course put some Mod Podge on it as well to make it even more stiff. Now for the bases of my candle holders, I have this little round wall plaque here that I thrifted, and then I have a wooden coaster and then a wood round that I believe I got from a pack from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to fill the holes on this thrifted piece where the holes for hanging it on the wall. And then I'm going to glue this smaller wood round to this wooden coaster here. I'm going to give them both a base coat of truffle chalk paint, and then I'm going to go over the trim pieces with the gold leaf rub and buff, and I'll also give the bases the same treatment with that rub and buff so that they match. I glued each vase to its base with E6000. I also used E6000 to glue that metal trim to itself and just clamped it until that set up. I used hot glue to glue the lace trim around the base of the smaller vase there. I also made sure to put a dot of that E6000 on the bottom of the trim as well. That way it'll be glued. It's not going to go anywhere, but it'll be glued to the base as well as the vase being glued to the vase. And you could use these as vases, of course, but I'm going to be using them as candle holders. And so I have two pillar candles here. I'm just going to put those down in there. I did end up using a different pillar candle that was a different color for the smaller one. You could, of course, make these any color to match any style that you're going for. And they were very affordable, so you could make quite a few of these and use them in centerpieces, maybe at a wedding or a party or something like that. This is just a quick reminder that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. That way you don't miss any future videos. You could also hype this video if you're watching it within the first 7 days of it coming out. Those are all greatly appreciated. For this one, I'm going to be using one of these burner covers from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using the smaller one out of this pack of 2. And I'm just going to give it a base coat of cashew chalk paint. Really just about any chalk paint would do. The chalk paint works well with the metal, and so I just like to use it as a base coat on glass or metal because it just sticks pretty well as opposed to the regular acrylic, which is pretty watery. And then I'm going to go over that base coat with English Ivy Green. I also have this 8-inch embroidery hoop, and I'm just going to be using the inner portion of that. I have this roll of veneer here, and it does have adhesive on it. It's heat activated, and this is in my Amazon shop. There it is on the screen there, and the link to my Amazon shop is always in my description box. And I cut 8 lengths of this at the same length, 19 inches long. So when I bought the veneer, it was $8 for a roll, and so I calculated that it was only going to be $1.52 for the veneer that I used in this project. I'm going to put them sort of back to back here, and because it is fairly thin and flimsy, and so I wanted to put 2 together to make it more sturdy but still be able to bend them. And so I'm going to fuse 2 together here, so I'll end up with 4 strips, not 8, because I'm putting them together. And I wanted to show you here, if you don't have an iron handy, some people don't even have irons. If you have an old hair straightener, you could fuse these together with an old hair straightener. But you definitely want to, especially if this is your hair straightener, you don't want to attempt to, melt that glue and put these together without the parchment paper. The parchment paper will protect your hair straightener because that glue will seep out as you melt it. So it'll seep out of there and get on your hair straightener. But I just wanted to show this as an option. But I finally got a mini iron, and Kathy Jo sent that to me. So thank you, Kathy Jo, for my mini iron. I guess she had an extra one. I was so surprised when I saw that she was giving me that. But I used this parchment paper here, and I'm just going to create 4 strips out of the 8 strips that I cut. Now I'm just going to use some wood glue as well as a small staple, and I'm going to make a wooden cloche here with these veneer strips and this embroidery hoop. For the top of the cloche, and as well as how I'm going to hold all these pieces together at the top, I'm going to be putting a knob up there. Now, I ended up using this wooden mushroom from the Dollar Tree. I didn't think it was going to work, and so I didn't have any faith in this working, so I didn't film me chopping up the base of this little mushroom, but I ended up liking how it turned out. But you could also use a regular wooden knob and use a little bolt to attach that knob to these pieces, and that will hold them all together. With each strip being 19 inches long, I just measured to the center there, 9.5, and then I'm punching a hole in the center of each of my veneer strips. And you definitely want to do that step before you start gluing and stapling all your veneer strips. I got ahead of myself just a little bit. I used wood glue on the top to secure the little mushroom knob that I made there. And then underneath there, just for, a quick hold so I can continue on with the project, I used some hot glue underneath there so that it wouldn't go anywhere. This would be very cute painted white, but it's wood, so I'm definitely going to stain it. I'm using my Varathane gel stain that is in my Amazon shop as well. And I'm just going to give this one coat of this gel stain. Now, I should have been more careful with my wood glue. If you get wood glue on your wood project, you want to clean that off very well because stain will not stick to it. So there was a couple of spots where the stain didn't stick, and I had to go over those spots again with another coat of that gel stain. Now, I have this napkin here from Kathy Jo. So this video is basically sponsored by Kathy Jo because a lot of the stuff I'm using she sent to me. But I have this beautiful napkin here. I'm pretty sure I got from her. And you could, decorate up this little tray however you want. But I'm going to Mod Podge this napkin down in this tray here. I used the water method so I didn't have a sharp edge. I wanted to have a more feathered edge on that napkin. And I was going to leave the inside green initially, but then I realized that's really going to darken up this napkin. It's a good practice to, whatever the background color on your napkin is, it's a good idea to make what you're Mod Podging the napkin onto that color, or as close as you can get it. And so I went with the cashew on the inside, and then I'm doing the method where I let the Mod Podge dry, and then I'm going to go over and reactivate that Mod Podge by heating it up. And that does help with the wrinkles, because this napkin is just so thin. It's just one ply, because you remove that back ply off of that napkin. So it's so thin, it wrinkles so easily. But then I do go over that with a top coat of Mod Podge. I did cause a couple of bubbles, but once it dries, those bubbles went away. And where the bubbles were actually kind of aged up. It made it look more aged. And so I really liked the look, how it turned out in the end. I used some gold rub and buff just to trim out the little tray and on the inside around that napkin as well. I feel like this is really pretty, and you could, style it however, maybe put like a floral arrangement in it. That would be very pretty. So I saw someone online glue some magnets to the back. These are little butter pat dishes, and so you don't find, they don't really get made anymore. You have to find them thrifted. They used to come with dish sets because people would put a pat of butter on them. They're just little tiny plates. You can find them on eBay. It's kind of difficult to find them at a good price, though. You're better off just keeping an eye out for them at thrift stores. A lot of times online they have them, I feel like, overpriced, because I think they're a little bit, in right now. But I just did not have the heart to glue magnets to those. So I just couldn't. That's why I bought them. I saw them at a thrift shop, and I just couldn't do it. So I found this little set, this little tea set from the Dollar Tree, and it was $1.25 or $1.50. And so these are going to be very affordable, and I won't be permanently gluing magnets to the back of those butter pats. So now I don't know. I'm going to have to use them to put pats of butter on to justify buying them now, because I bought them to make magnets, but I just couldn't do it. So I'm going to make some magnets out of these little plates, and 3 of them I'm painting with cashew, and then the other one I'm doing in English ivy green. I'm going to make all 4 of these different from each other. You could definitely make them all look the same to make them a matching set, but this first one that I did here, this first way that I did this one, I definitely liked the most, where I just took a floral napkin and then Mod Podged that in the center there and kept it kind of simple. I feel like this one turned out the prettiest, but I'm just, doing, so I like to do several different ways of something just to show how it goes and to give y'all different ideas. I used some rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree as well. I was going to do these 2 little birds here, but I felt like there was too much empty space and it just didn't center up right. So I'm using this larger bird on the center of this plate. And from another old Dollar Tree rub-on transfer, I wish they would come out with some more rub-on transfers. I don't know about you guys' stores, but my Dollar Tree never has rub-on transfers anymore. For the green one, I thought I would do something a little bit different, and I have this print here of this lady doing some crafting, and I'm just going to cut out just her face, and I'm going to put that in the center of the green plate. And for this one, I'm going to try to go over just these details, these raised details on these little plastic plates. And I just painted a sponge brush. I found that it was doing it too messily, and it was because the sponge brush was just too big. And so I cut that down a little bit and just went over. And, this is just paint. You can fix your mistakes anytime you're painting something by just painting over it again and then redoing it. So no big deal if you mess up, just play around with it. It's, this was a really fun project because you're just making these little custom plates. They were really cute and really fun to make. And you could certainly put pictures of your family in these, and instead of them being plates, they could be like little mini picture frames. That would be really neat as well. On one, I used gold leaf rub and buff for the highlights. And then for the other, I went over it with antique wax to bring out those details on that one. And I was just showing you there that I did mess up on that green one, and I messed up on another one too, and I just went over it with more of the paint and then redid it. I wanted to keep this one a little more simple, and I did just go over the edges, and I also just went over the raised dots there around the flowers there. And I used E6000 to glue on Dollar Tree magnets. I don't have anything I can put magnets on in my craft room, so I used that little tray that I just made there, and then I also show them on my refrigerator. That's it for this one. This one seemed to go by pretty fast. I only have 3 for y'all today, but each craft was sort of like more than one craft in each craft, if that makes sense. But I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.